Welcome to my views and news. Breaking news for you from Ethiopia, Sudan border, Al-Fashaga strip. Al-Fashaga Al-Kubra, Fashaga Al-Sugra, Greater Fashaga, Smaller Fashaga. On Sudan-Ethiopia border has been disputed between the two countries. Amhara forces, militias have launched an attack on Al-Fashaga. Details are now emerging. Let's have a look at the background a little and then who is part of this attack on Al-Fashaga from Ethiopian territories. Where is Ethiopian National Defense Force? Is it part of the plan to take back Al-Fashaga? Sudanese military was withdrawing from Al-Fashaga. What is happening there? Al-Fashaga consists of two zones, Fashaga Al-Kubra, Greater Fashaga, and Fashaga Al-Sugra, Smaller Fashaga. Smaller Fashaga shares border with the Amhara region of Ethiopia. Greater Fashaga is situated more towards Eritrean border, towards western Tigray, Amhara, Sudan border. Very fertile area. Ethiopia acknowledged in some engagements with Sudanese government in the past that Al-Fashaga was part of it was part of Sudan. But since Ethiopians have been living in Al-Fashaga for decades, Sudan agreed to the status quo that the Ethiopians would keep on living here. Al-Fashaga was being cultivated by mostly farmers from the Amhara region for decades. Then started war in northern Ethiopia, Tigray, where Amhara forces, Ethiopian National Defense Force, Eritrean military, all joined hands in the war on Tigray. ENDF Amhara forces had to be moved away from Ethiopia-Sudan border. And that gave an opportunity to Sudanese military. Sudanese military retook Al-Fashaga in 2021 when Ethiopian military Amhara forces were busy in Tigray. Amhara farmers were stopped from cultivating the land in Al-Fashaga. Sudanese farmers were brought, they were settled there. Al-Fashaga, which was cut off from the Sudanese territories, was joined through construction of new roads. Sudanese military established checkpoints and military camps in Al-Fashaga. Ethiopian forces tried to respond, Amhara forces, but since Ethiopian forces were busy in Tigray, they could not launch a full-scale attack on Al-Fashaga. Burhan, I remember, once visited Al-Fashaga, and there was heavy fighting in some areas in Al-Fashaga between Sudanese military and Ethiopian forces. But Sudanese military managed to take back around 95% of Al-Fashaga in 2021 mostly. Since then, the area has been under the control of Sudanese military. Now, when Sudan is seeing internal civil war, we are seeing an attack from Ethiopia on Al-Fashaga. I discussed 2 days ago that it could be an opportunity for those who want to take back Al-Fashaga in Ethiopia to carry out an attack. But my analysis was that Ethiopian National Defense Force, Ethiopian government would not be planning to take back Al-Fashaga because government's concern now is to fill the dam, Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, fourth filling about to start. So government does not want to, it doesn't want any escalation on board. But now it is being reported by some very credible sources, including Sunnis from the area, that an attack from Ethiopian territories on Al-Fashaga has been launched. Sudanese sources say that the attack was repelled, but it wasn't a small scale attack, it was a large scale attack. We know that Al-Fashaga is in Gadaref state. In Gadaref, this week, Sudanese military launched operation against RSF, Rapid Support Forces. RSF's camps in Gadaref have come back under the control of Sudanese military. And after that, from eastern Sudan, Sudanese military were told to withdraw, to move towards Khartoum, because Khartoum is the center of fighting these days. Though there is a 24-hour long second ceasefire in place in Sudan these minutes. But from eastern Sudan, from Gadaref, Katsala, Damazin, and from Red Sea as well, Sudanese military convoys were seen, militias were seen heading towards Khartoum. And reportedly, some contingents of Sudanese military withdrew from Al-Fashaga too. Not completely though. So that is why when Sudanese military started withdrawing from Al-Fashaga, an attack from Ethiopia on Fashaga was carried out. The attack was carried out on Fashaga al-Sogra, smaller Fashaga, which shares border with Amhara region. It means attack was from the Amhara region. Who was part of this attack? Was Ethiopian National Defense Force there? Is ENDF backing this attack on Al-Fashaga? No, reportedly Ethiopian National Defense Force, Ethiopian federal government are not part of the plan. Amhara forces have launched this attack. Amhara forces, Amhara militias, local farmers who are armed, local gangs, they join hands in this attack to take back Fashaga al-Sogra. Amhara Special Force has been disbanded according to Ethiopian constitution, Ethiopian law. There is no regional special force now in Ethiopia. Just a week ago, Ethiopian military chief announced that the special forces had been disbanded. In the Amharian, we saw that an operation was launched to disband, to disarm special force members. Special force members fled some camps. They refused to be disarmed, and some fled towards Sudan-Ethiopia border. These members of Amhara Special Force who have not surrendered their arms, Fano militia on the run from Gondar mainly, and some local farmers, they have launched this attack on Fashaga al-Sogra. Sudanese sources say that they have repelled this attack on Al-Fashaga, and that the attack was launched and more preparations are underway in Abdurrafe. Abdurrafe is on Ethiopia-Sudan border, on Amhara-Sudan border rather. Now, it's a test of Ethiopian National Defense Forces control of the border. Is ENDF in control of Ethiopia-Sudan border? Is ENDF out of this picture, or is ENDF going to play good cop, bad cop, that it wants to give an impression to Sudanese government that it is not part of any attack? The attack was carried out by some elements from the Amharian. That we'll see in coming hours. What is the response of Ethiopian National Defense Force? My understanding is that ENDF might not be part of this plan to take back Al-Fashaga at this point of time, because Ethiopia does not want an escalation on border with Sudan. But no one clearly knows what are ENDF's intentions. We'll have to wait a little. ENDF will not allow Amhara Special Force, Fano fighters to be reorganized in Amhara region. That is why we could see an operation against Amhara forces, Fano fighters from Ethiopian National Defense Force on Ethiopia-Sudan border. That is how I understand the situation. Meanwhile, from Fashaga, we have learned that Sudanese military is still deployed there, though they have withdrawn some of their units, but it's not that Fashaga is unguarded. No, Fashaga is not unguarded. Secondly, locals are being involved. Today, a protest, a rally, a support rally is expected in Gidaraf state in support of Sudanese army and to condemn this attack on Fashaga from Ethiopian territories. Sudan military is trying to involve local tribal elders to deploy their armed men to Fashaga to protect Sudan-Ethiopia border. So it was expected that some elements from the Amhara region could try to take back Fashaga. It has happened. Sudan military is now in a position to make more deployments to Fashaga. We'll have to see the role of Ethiopian National Defense Force in this conflict. Is ENDF going to remain aloof, neutral? Is it going to start operation against elements from the Amhara region? Or is it going to remain silent and continue backing Amhara forces secretly? That we'll see in coming hours. Thank you for watching.